So I'd like to give you an update of where we're at with cannabis. So as you know, we had two initiatives on the ballot, J and K, which both failed. Cannabis and the sale of it is still banned. We have the same ordinance we had before the election. And inside that ordinance, because of a court case that we lost at the appellate court, there was a group of cannabis operators who the court said had been, quote, legally established, at least before the state started licensing. And so you have to give them a chance to go out of business, essentially, which is what amortization means. Amortization does not mean you get to stay in business forever. Amortization means that we give them a period of time for them to make smart business decisions to wind down their business and recoup their whatever investment they made. So the criteria is that they were in a commercial or industrial zone, which is classified as a pharmacy, and they were operating before May 10th, 2016. So the court forced us to do this, and we came up with what's euphemistically called by many the list. So we have a list of 29 dispensaries who have been in this amortization program. However, they were also told that they were supposed to go and get their places legal, meaning the majority of them, in fact we haven't found one that didn't, went in, opened up, and didn't get any building permits. So the courts allowed us, this is public health and safety, if you have a dry cleaner or you have a laundromat next to one of these, you don't want someone operating without building permits because then they can catch fire and burn you down. So we were allowed. So we started sending out letters every month. We created a checklist, which is something we don't do for everyone, saying here's what it takes to get a building permit. And that started December 2017 when the ban ordinance became effective. They have had a year to get building permits. As of this date, only out of 28, only 2 of them have finished their building permits. But everybody but 3 has in the process. They're working on it. And then once they get a building permit, then I will give them an authorization letter saying, yes, you're a legal, medicinal only retail establishment, only until, and right now the new date is May 24th, 2019, they are supposed to go to the state and get a marijuana seller's license. To date, no one has done that, with the exception of last week, one in Bakersfield got what's called a temporary license, and they have to close April 17th, 2019. So, right now the date is May 24th, 2019. What's the point of that? The point of that is they are supposed to be making business decisions to not lose money. Don't, sell off your stuff. Go out of business. Now, many of them disagree with this, and so they have decided to appeal 18 of them, including all the ones in Rosamond are on the list. I'm going to tell you which ones are on the list. Have appealed the May 24th date. So we will be having a hearing in February at the Board of Supervisors, and we will be sending out notices, and we will send notices to the RMAC. We have all the comment letters of people who are against these dispensaries, as well as the comment letters of people who want them to stay open. However, that is an opportunity to put letters in the record saying how you feel about this, because the Board of Supervisors will then consider this matter and say, are we going to support the May 24th date, or are we going to tell them to close right now? Because they appealed, that decision gets to be reconsidered. And there is nothing past, it's still banned. There's nothing past May 24th. There's no new ordinance. There's no new way to stay alive. There is a March 2020 initiative that'll be on the ballot again, but that's 2020. That's not now. So the ones that have appealed are ABDC, which is on Sierra Highway, Organic Health Solutions, Tanner Best, Plum Tree Collective, Vape and Bake, and then a bunch of ones in Bakersfield, one in Ridgecrest. We will group the Rosamond ones at the same board hearing. So it'll be in February. It's at 2 o'clock on a Tuesday at the Board of Supervisors. Once again, we'll make sure that you get a notice. And we will have a hearing where they will have an opportunity to say why they should be given more time to stay open. Can't make them do it. This is what the courts do.
You banned what?
We banned the sale of medicinal, recreational, all manufacturing and all growing. It's all illegal.
But yet they're here.
They're amortized out, and that is it's just like the billboards. When LA decided to get rid of billboards on certain streets, they had to give them an amount of time to go out of business because they had put money into it. So that's, we're just implementing what we're implementing, and we are very clear with many of them. They need to make a business decision here.
But they knew, but what I don't understand was frustrating when the board keeps moving the date. They knew going into this that it was a gamble.
Okay, the board didn't move the date. Let me go through that. The courts require that they have a right to a hearing. So, we wrote into the ordinance that 120 days before the November 24th, but no later than 90, so they couldn't just apply anytime they wanted. They could come and make application to get more time. We had a hearing at the planning department, a legal hearing, which we sent notices out, and we took the comments. And they all asked for 3 years. 3 years, 4 years. They did not provide us with their profits. They all said they've made no money in 11 years. They all said that they, need more time to, recoup their $26,000 for the building permit. So we looked at it legally. We have lawyers that we're accountable to at the county council and said, look, we're going to give you 6 months to wind down. Okay? You need to wind down because you stayed open because of these 2 initiatives, thinking that if one of them passed, you would have a lifeline. So we're being cautious. This is taxpayer dollars when they sue us. And I'll say it publicly. When we close them and they sue us, we will win. Okay? We have been more than respectful, and they can attest to that. Every month we have sent them a letter. Now remember, you have to get a building permit. Here's what it takes. I have a paper trail of, we told you, and you're absolutely right about the business risk. So when people come to me and they say, hey, you gave them permission to operate, I said, no, I didn't. That's their risk. And as you notice, there's been law enforcement actions against people, and now the state. There is no immunity for these 28 from the state, and they are operating without a license. Now, the state just started permitting January 1st, 2018, and it's a big state. And there's a lot of illegal operations, right? So they've had to ramp up, but they're ramped now. They're ramped now. So in Kern County, there's only one place that's safe from a law enforcement action by the state, and that is the Bakersfield one, and they are only good for 120 days. They got a temporary license. So your point is well taken about moving, right? This is the opportunity. These ones that have appealed, which are all the ones in Rosamond, all appealed on the advice of their lawyer. At the Board of Supervisors, it's all open again. The board doesn't have to say we're going to give you till May. They can say tomorrow. And I think your public comments matter. When you send me your public comments, they're going to be represented by counsel. They're going to have their say. This is a due process. And there could be facts that we don't know about how much they pay on their lease, investments they've made in trying to get the building permits. Once again, thank God it's America. So we're going to have a hearing in Bakersfield, and we look forward to your comments.
This was, I think, was frustrating.
Oh, it's very frustrating.
The people have spoken that we don't want it.
I know.
And then with this hearing, it's given them another opportunity. If they give them another 6 months, we haven't made any headway.
I know.
And we're still smelling it. And,
I know. It's very frustrating.
Yeah.
What caused this is in 2009. 2009, the Compassionate Care Act, was passed right before that, and we were going to ban it. This wasn't me. It kind of predates me a little bit, but there was this ordinance, and the thought was there'd be 1 or 2. There'd be 1 or 2 retail. That's all. And so the board, thinking they were doing some compassionate thing, wrote this ordinance that was very simple, too simple. Remember, there was no state licensing at the time. And all it said was, we'll consider you a pharmacy, that's what it says, and pharmacies are allowed in, and besides, recreational wasn't legal, it's only medicinal. Pharmacies are allowed in commercial and industrial. And you have to be 1,000 feet from a school, a park, or a youth center. That's the only other rule. And what was the third rule? And so that was a misstep, because that's not what happened. That's not what happened. And so sometimes we do get it wrong, but I'm more than happy to say that I'll come as many times as it takes to explain where we're at and what we're doing. Nobody is ignoring them. Nobody is just, you know, hey, it's all over and there's nothing we can do. And we will continue down these paths. I have empathy for them because they have contributed to the community. They have gone to the Salvation Army. They've done can drives. But at the bottom, this is not an industry that Kern County has embraced. I did a full EIR. I came up with a regulatory proposal that would have provided $30 million a year. And in our democratic process, the board voted 4-1 no. That's the process. Then there was 2 initiatives which they funded with a lot of money, actually, both those initiatives, and the voters voted no. Right? That's our process. So I got it. Sometimes democracy grinds slowly, but it does grind to an end. And so that's where we're at. Yes, ma'am.
So when you go by some of these shops, I know they're not compliant. They have looked like collage things hanging off the back of their doors or on the side of their homes.
I mean, they have what?
The whole system looks like it's collude. They're electrical and it's not code.
I know, that's the problem. That's why we're telling them to get a building code.
So
now, just remember though, there's a couple of them that are illegal that aren't even on this list that are just, that's different. Go
So
ahead.
you can tell it's a safety issue too.
Right,
And the other issue is there's been 2 articles in the paper about, yeah, we sell about $250,000 a weekend. So don't tell me they're not making profit.
Well, how do you pay your employees? So they've given me information that says to be on this list, they have to be open and operating. How can you operate if you're not making any money? Now, I want to go on record as saying ABDC honestly told us what they make, their profit, and why they need to save. They're the only one of the 28 that told the truth about that. And the other ones either misunderstood, but many of them have lawyers. So where I'm at is, if a lawyer misunderstands, then you should stop paying them. They have a job, okay? But some of these people are just, you know, a guy, a gal, and they're running it, and so maybe they did misunderstand. This is their opportunity, and this is our opportunity again. And it is frustrating, and it is no different than code compliance. We have people all the time who come to us and argue about, you know, why don't you shut down that guy next door who has a junkyard? Because he has rights too. And we have to go through it, to notice him. We have to work our way through it. He told us that he's gotten sick. He doesn't have the money to fix it. You know what I mean? There's a process. And it's frustrating for people who have to live near it. Yes, sir.
So how much do they make?
Well, it's public record. ABDC said they made $600,000. They spent $400,000. They made a $200,000 profit. And they needed 3 more years to recoup $26,987 they spent on their building permit, which they don't have yet. So you can see that that's not logical, but yes, that's what they said. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so I opened a business here in Rosamond, and darn, I just can't make it work. Are you going to give me extra time to try and make it work?
Exactly. So that's the point.
This doesn't make sense.
Very good. So amortization does not mean we need to support a failing business. And that is one of our cases for having them closed. But their lawyers are making their case too. We are paying for a very good, excellent, California known-wide zoning land use lawyer who's helping us through this process. Because when we get sued, we want to win. We're not going to go through this again. But yes, that's the issue. The issue of amortization is supposed to be the following. I'll just make up a scenario. So you have a business. We'll go with you. You have a business, right? And we decide to amortize you out because we gave you a permit to let you operate, and we decided, for a variety of reasons, that we're not going to let people sell pets anymore. We're not going to allow pet stores. And we decide to ban pet stores. The courts say that we can't put you out of business immediately We have to give you a time limit to amortize out. What that means is, you come in and you say, look, I didn't know you were going to ban me, and I just bought a building for $600,000. You have to give me a period of time to recoup that or figure out how to sell the building. But you're also supposed to make business decisions. I'll reduce my stock. I won't have as many employees, right? I'll cut a deal with the people I bought it from. It's supposed to give you time to make decisions to wind down, to cut your losses. Now, if you then come and say, so we're going to let you sell pets, but then you come and you show, we say, no, you need to close, we gave you your year, and you go, you know, I'm not a very good business person, so I've been giving away the puppies. You're right, I'm not required to let you go 4 more years because you're a bad business person. That's an excellent example. Yes?
I just don't understand your comparison of selling pets, which is legal, versus marijuana.
Marijuana was legal. Marijuana, under the Compassionate Care Act, was legal to sell when we passed that ordinance. Recreational was not legal. The problem was there was a gray area. The Compassionate Care Act worked for individuals. The Compassionate Care Act originally was, I'm going to use him. He knows how to grow weeds. And he's going to be a caregiver for these 4 other people who are patients. That's how they envisioned it. It wasn't going to be a storefront. There wasn't going to be any store. He was going to grow it somehow inside his 6 plants, and they were going to get everybody was going to get their prescriptions. It was going to be a closet. It was going to be a low-key operation. What happened is everybody started opening up storefronts. And we never got the state of California or the courts to declare that. They said, well, you're right, there's land use issues. So that Compassionate Care Act, while a good thing and thoughtful, was not well written and not rolled out because it didn't stay that way, did it? Instead, people said, no, I'm going to open a storefront and I'm going to have 10,000 patients. Whenever I ask people, and I know these guys wouldn't say that, but when we scroll back a few years, we'd ask how many patients. Every single one of them said they had 10,000 patients. So I ran the numbers. That would mean that 2/3 of the adults in Kern County were using medicinal cannabis. And so then I just took a poll of how many people were actually using it, and it's not 2/3 of the adults. It might be now, but it wasn't then. Okay. This has been a very different land use. This is very different than our ability to manage things. And we are, we were struggling. I don't feel we're struggling now. I think we have a clear path. We have clear votes from the public. If the public had voted one of those initiatives in, I firmly believe the board would have said, it's the will of the people.
Ironically, he's sort of a caregiver now.
Yes, he is a caregiver now of all of us. Thanks for letting me.
I don't know if you have this information or not, but of all the marijuana shops, how many of them actually own their own shop compared to leasing?
Out of 28 of them, probably 8 or 9 of them actually own the building.
So you can't put pressure on the
We have. Listen, we've closed 60.
Wow.
We've closed 60. And in some cases, they never opened. Because we heard from the community here and in Bakersfield that some landlord, so we called the landlord. We said, just a friendly call. Did you know that it's not true that it's legal here? I'm sure you wouldn't be surprised the number of phone calls I get. I get phone calls from people. I want to set up a cannabis shop. I go, well, it's banned. Really? I go, yep. I said, don't do it. You didn't do it already, did you? You didn't buy the building. Now, I do want to mention hemp. Hemp is a fiber. The plants do not have THC, which is tetrahydrocannabinol, which is what is used in CBD and medicinal and other sorts of things. And so hemp was only experimental through UC Davis. And we actually had 2 hemp acreages up in Bakersfield. But the Farm Bill just took it off the federal list. That's been signed. And the rules for hemp are just going into effect January 1st. So to grow hemp, they have to go to the Ag Commissioner, and there's tons of rules, including testing, to make sure that it doesn't have THC in it. and it uses a lot less water. It doesn't use the same amount of water as things like orchards and other things. So there are many farmers that are excited about this because most of the hemp is grown in other countries and brought in Canada and places like that. It doesn't smell. I investigated that because that is now a concern. It doesn't smell like, it's kind of got a smell, but it's not the same kind of pungent smell. It doesn't go as far because there's no flowers. It's the fiber, it's the stalk that they're harvesting. So anyway, now, the biggest problem that these two places have in Bakersfield with the Sheriff's Rural Crimes Unit is people think it's cannabis, so they keep stealing the hemp plants. And the Rural Crimes Unit is telling me that they keep getting these calls from these two farmers about people stealing their crops.
Hemp scams.
All right, well, I appreciate your time, and, I appreciate that, you often wonder what the heck is government doing, and so, I just wanted to make sure I'd come and let you know.
Okay, Joe Ellen.
Thank you very much. There's many reasons that we oppose this terrible solar project. And we're reasonable people. We're not opposed to solar as a whole entity. But when it's thrust in our yards and in our faces without much recourse, our hair stands on end and we start writing letters.
Right.
We're very opposed to this program, to this project. I personally talked to my realtor here in town, and he told me personally, he said, Joellen, your house will probably go down $30,000 to $40,000. And I've spent 30 hours, over 30 hours, going door to door, talking to my neighbors in this community to find out how they feel. And as I've talked to people, I found that my neighbors cannot afford that kind of property loss. It's huge. And for most of them, their property is their nest egg. Matter of fact, one older couple I went to, as soon as I got the notice, and I went to Bakersfield for the first meeting, and I appreciate the fact that I received the notice. But some of my neighbors who are within that same 1,000 feet level did not receive the notice, so they're pretty upset about that. But the opportunity of having the freedom in this country to stand up and say, no, we don't want it. And Lorelei, you mentioned that several times. Thank God for America.
Right.
Thank God that we have the right to petition, we have the right to stand, and that you've even given us the opportunity to come here and speak to you. And I thank you, and I thank God for this country. There's many unintended consequences that come along with these projects. For instance, with the windmills, we know that unintended consequences cause the death of many birds. And I'm a bird feeder. I bring the birds to my house. And I love the birds. And I have a friend here that loves birds. And is there anybody else but me that feeds birds? We love birds. And I'm talking to people who, when solar comes to their property or their area, all the wildlife leave. And matter of fact, Lorelei, you mentioned coyotes coming around. Well, I'm talking to people where the solar has come in and they don't see coyotes, they don't see foxes, they don't even see rabbits or gophers anymore. Everything leaves, and that's problematic to us. One of the unintended consequences of this project is the terrible danger of coccidiomycosis. And we talked about that last time. The terrible incidence of valley fever. And it's a real problem. And if I hadn't had white hair before I started this research, it would be white now after my research in valley fever. I've researched hours on it, and my research tells me that there's no cure for it. My research also tells me that all animals can get valley fever. Now, we have a feline compound here in Rosamond that we're very proud of. And we want to see those animals saved. And kudos to Kern County for saving animals in the shelters. That's a wonderful thing. Don't you all think that's wonderful?
Yeah.
Really good news. And we really thank you for that. But we love the wildlife too, don't we? We love that wildlife. And we don't want to see it chased away from our areas. But what comes in instead of the wildlife that we see are the vermin. And I have a friend who is my dental hygienist, and she lives, Lorelei, in Acres. And the project came in, and she's had, the start was 4 snakes in her storage cabinet. And that's a little dicey for a lady. You know, the Bible says that there was enmity put between the woman and the snake. We don't like snakes. And this lady had 4 snakes in her storage cabinet. Not only that, she had skunks coming onto her property to deal with. Now, last summer, I went out at night, and I don't have houses too close to my house, but one night I was out with a flashlight, very, very late at night, and my neighbor came over, and he wondered what was going on. He was looking out for me. He says, hello, what are you doing? Well, I'm out there with a flashlight chasing black widow spiders, and I got 17 of them. Now, that's on a good day without a solar project around. And black widow spiders bite you, and they're poisonous, and they put you in the hospital. And I don't like them. So I'm out there chasing them with a flashlight in one hand and a spray can in the other hand. The other issue is to have this move into our front yards and backyards. It's unconscionable. And these people come in, and they're going to make lots of money, and they're going to cause us lots of distress and leave us with a wake of their destruction. Land that is barren, land that comes up with more dust, destroyed roads, solar in our faces, ambient temperature raised up. Now, we had weeks of 110 degrees, and Lorelei lives here in Rosamond, so she knows what the heat is like here. And to add 5 to 7 degrees to that is a lot, and that's the average ambient temperature elevation that raises. So we're talking going from 110 to 117. That's a lot. That's a real serious issue. Rattlesnakes. Now, last night when we were here in November, we had a lady, a neighbor, come and tell us that the rattlesnakes came out of the solar project near her and came and bit her dogs. That's a really serious issue. Another lady told us the rats came out of the solar field and ate her chickens. But the worst thing we're facing is valley fever. And California, Bakersfield was just given $3 million to develop this Valley Fever Institute in Bakersfield. We had 9 people die from valley fever in Kern County last year. The incidence of valley fever is going up significantly. There's no cure for it, and you do not develop resistance to it. I've been in my home for 28 years. I'm a gardener. I buy wood. I heat half my house with a wood stove, so I'm outside using a chainsaw with my wood and also gardening. I'm breathing dust all the time. On a good day, with the wind at 40 or 50 miles an hour, I can't see the field in front of me. There's a 400-year-old Joshua tree out there. When they come in, they denude the land. So we lose the animals. We lose the native habitation. The habitat changes. The birds leave. The coyotes, I like the coyotes. I go out and I listen to their song at night. I love to hear the coyotes sing. So if you're like I am, you're dreading the idea of this project. How many of you are adamantly opposed to this solar project, Raceway Solar? You're adamantly opposed to it. Thank you very much. So I want to thank you again for the time. I have actually 7 pages of notes tonight, but I want to thank Lorelei again also for.
Thank you for your comments.
And
Very well spoken.
And Michael, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Okay, I'd like to go ahead and move to the community leader reports. Sergeant Manshine, you've got the report for the Kern County Sheriff.
Starting out with the Kern County Sheriff, Rosamond, Mojave. We had approximately 1,800 calls for service this last for November. 600 of those were in Rosamond, so we were split up pretty equally among 3 areas. We had 36 arrests, and there were 90 arrest totals in the 3 areas. We did shut down an internet casino at 2600 block of Sierra Highway. We did 5 law enforcement actions against marijuana dispensaries. We were part of the launch of the Spaceship 2 in Mojave last week. We have security and safety issues we have to deal with that. One of the big things that occurred last couple weeks ago, there were 4 arrests in a 2017 homicide case from Rose. I'd like to really thank, there's a senior deputy and a deputy that did 99% of that work on that case. They did a great job. They worked with the district attorney for the last 4 months trying to get warrants for those, and they finally got the warrants, and everyone's in custody, and hopefully everyone will be prosecuted to the fullest. But those 2 deputies, the deputy and the senior deputy, did a great job.
Thank you.
And then the last thing, on January 8th, we'll be having a coffee with the cop. The CHP and us will be at Patty's Cafe from 8 to 10. If you want to talk to us, it doesn't have to be about work. You can just come and say hi. So we'll be there. Coffee, breakfast. I'm sure Patty's is good for breakfast. So.
What time?
8 to 10. We've had a lot of support from all the restaurants in Rosamond. We've done coffees with the cop at Foster's, we've done McDonald's, we've done Jay's, Tom's. We'll probably hit other ones in the future, but we've had great support from the community as far as law enforcement goes, and hopefully it stays that way.
And good donuts.
Any questions?
Are you allowed to say those deputies' names, or is that secret right now?
Well, I'm not allowed to put deputies' names out there, so I don't want to put one out without the other.
Okay. Okay.
But
2 deputies.
2 of our deputies.
Our deputies?
Well, one's Rosamond, one's Mojave. But,
Okay.
there are area deputies that did 99% of the work. Homicide involved, but the search warrants are mostly written by our guys. All of the hours and hours and hours of overtime and stuff like that were paid for out of Rosamond. So
Perfect.
they did the job.
Awesome.
Hey, sir, hey, real quick, can you elaborate real quick on the desert dumping? When somebody finds dumping with addresses on there, what can be done? I mean, that's one of my peeves. I mean, we got a free dump, and it's increasing. It's getting worse.
It's a little bit of everything, but code compliance can go after the property owners, which kind of is unfair to be done. Unfortunately, the district attorney wants more than just someone's name on a mail to prosecute. So if we go out there and find mail, that's not enough to get the DA to prosecute, because they can say, well, I hired someone to go do that. You know.
But they're still ultimately responsible. If they hire somebody and that company goes out there and dumps it,
They
they're
might-
still ultimately responsible for the
They
trash.
might be civilly responsible, but legally, the DA doesn't see it that way. Hasn't seen it that way.
But it's, like I said, it's getting worse and worse out there.
Very,
I
see,
remember,
landfills cleaner than.
well, I mean, I see the 80 scanner, I see Rosamond stuff, I see everything that's on the internet. It's not just Rosamond, it's
Right.
all
No,
over the
no,
area.
exactly.
And then with staffing levels, us going out and investigating is a low priority.
Can I make a suggestion?
Open season.
Okay, so if you go to the Kern County website, you know, Craig Pope is in charge of Public Works and he runs code compliance as well. You make a list of the addresses, take pictures, and email it, and say we want this cleaned up. He will then send it down to code compliance, and he also manages waste management, because there is also enforcement powers that they have for illegal dumping. And one of the things that was successful a few years ago is we found out that it was a company, right? That it was a company was kind of coming and kind of dumping these things. So that's just a backup idea that you can literally then kind of consolidate, you know?
So it would be
Consolidate
appropriate to go
3 or 4.
clean it up and take it back to their house.
Oh, that has to.
You know, I would not suggest that because the person who dumps,
Yeah.
you know, may also be armed. So, you know, is trash really worth that? I mean, I'll let you answer that. But is trash really worth that? Right?
I've seen that done in the past, both ways.
Yeah.
So-
Exactly.
I worked with a guy at, was in Corazon Pool that, that's exactly what he did. He went out in the desert, he'd find out where there was an address, and he would go at night and dump it back on their lines. In those years, nothing was
That
done.
was exactly in those years,
Yeah.
we all knew each other.
Greg, what you got?
You know, I'd like to make a suggestion that, you know, it's worked in LA County, and the problem is that, yes, you get some contractors that will go do a cleanup on somebody's property, and go dump it in the desert. But for the most part, it's just people just dumping it, and it's
Right.
99% of the time, it's laziness. They can,
Exactly.
they can drive it to the dump and just get it done, but they don't wanna go that far. They just wanna get about halfway there, find a spot, look, do this thing, get out of the car, throw it out, and be on their way. And, you know, there is a possibility that if you could talk to Waste Management to establish a transfer station here in Rosamond, where even contractors can go in and get weighed and dump their loads there, instead of having to drive it all the way out to the landfill, it will cut down on the it's not gonna get rid of all of it. But for the people that just are too lazy to drive out there, you know, they can just go down the Sierra Highway, pull in there, show their ID they're from Rosamond, and then just dump it, and then if it's an agreement that's worked out with Kern County Waste Management, then all they're doing is just collecting the refuse. They could say, hey, this 40-yard bin that we've got is trash from the residents of Rosamond, and they can take it to the landfill for you, dump it. It doesn't cost Waste Management anything because it's a free service. It's just, you know, it's a way of just getting Waste Management to work with the community and to come to a solution to just basically get the people that are just too lazy to drive to the landfill someplace else to go. But that's, you know, you're not going to get rid of all of it, but that can get rid of a great deal of it. It's a good idea.
You anything else, Sergeant Anton? Okay. California Highway Patrol?
I'm just busy, so.
Kern County Fire? Kern County Supervisor, Mike, you have the floor.
Well, Zach and Lorelei have done the report, so thank you. I do have a certificate here of recognition for Justin Wright. Can you come forward, please? Zach.
Okay, thank you, Mike. Anyone from Assemblyman Tom Lashley's office? Rosamond Community Watch?
I guess just like to let everybody know, after the first of the year, we'll be kicking off the cleanups again. And we'll be doing, going back and forth between Sierra Highway and also do a few of the illegal dump cleanups like we did last year, where we get a group together and we get a permit from the county, and we can go around and pick up the mattresses and the tires and couches. Last time we did it, we picked up, was it 9 mattresses, 7 couches, a ton of electronics that we found on the side of the road, and we had 4 vehicles loaded down that we took out to the dump. So we'll be setting those up again in the next year.
Thank you. Rosamond Community Services District.
Double duty Greg. Good evening. My name is Greg Wood. I'm on the Board of Directors for the Rosamond Community Service District. And I will be the representative from the RCSD board here at the RMAC meetings. We swore in our new board on December 11th. And one of the first actions that we took was to reestablish committees and to get the board more involved with the community. And we have directors assigned to come to the RMAC meetings, AVAC meetings, Southern Kern Unified School District, Chamber of Commerce meetings. We want our directors to be out, be seen, listen to what the community is doing, work hand in hand with the 3 governing boards in this community, which is the RMAC board, Southern Kern Unified School District, RCSD. With all 3 of us working together, talking to each other, we feel that we can actually get great things done for this community. And nobody can do it alone, and everybody has a purpose. One of the things that I'm really excited about is that we started several ad hoc committees. And the ad hoc committees, we are inviting the public to come and join these committees and become a member and work with us. And what they are Water and Sewer Committee, Water Acquisition Committee, a Water Reclamation Committee, a Water Banking Committee, Grants Committee, and Emergency Preparedness Committee. And so if anybody is interested in becoming a member of the public and serving on these committees to help out the communities in these areas, if you got any input, you're all welcome. So just come to the RCSD and submit your name for consideration, and then we'll go from there. So thank you very much, and look forward to seeing you all again.
Greg, can I ask you a question while you're standing there? Yes. The emergency, is that going to be like what we had the CERT team?
Actually, it's going to be a little different. What this is to do is to get the RCSD. You need to understand that if there's a major earthquake or a major disaster, you could lose water services, you could lose sewer services, we could have collapsed lines in the street, we could have all kinds of problems. What we need to do is we need to get prepared as an agency to get out there and respond, to mitigate the disaster, make sure that you, the public, is up and running, that you continue to have water and continue to have sewer service, and everything, your lives don't get disrupted. We need to have emergency plans in place to make sure that we're ready to take care of you, the community. One of the things we're going to do is we're going to participate in the Great California Shakeout, and that is an annual earthquake preparedness to where the state of California, right now I think it's about 300 different agencies. They just say at 9 o'clock tomorrow morning we're going to experience 7.5 earthquake, and everybody responds. It's a way to test your emergency response. You get your crews out there to respond to a mock drill, And essentially what it does, it gets everybody to do dry runs. It's all coordinated with the fire departments, with the sheriff's department, with the emergency response teams from all different counties. And it just gets you ready so when and if, you know, the big one does hit or some other natural disaster comes in, that we're ready to act and get in there and take care of stuff instead of doing a lot of, you know, head scratching and running around. It just gets us prepared for that time.
Thank you.
Rosamond Foundation. Rosamond Chamber of Commerce, I see you back there, Jack.
No report, dark for December.
Rosamond football, youth football and cheer. Southern Kern Unified School District, do you have anything, Maureen?
Not really. Everything's going right along. Our budget crunch is still in effect, and we're going along. We're actually under budget right at this time. Our numbers as far as students has leveled out. We are expecting no growth of kids. Last year we had a 17% growth in our population, and so far it's staying flat, which is good because we're out of efforts. That's it. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Antelope Valley citizens for responsible use of water.
Just briefly, the water masters, of course, are still meeting. They are running short of funds, so they have transferred some of the duties from the water master engineer, some of the local water organizations, AVAC and so on, are taking over some of those administrative type duties. There's some talk, I don't know how this is all going to transform, but that the adjudication may have substantially underestimated the number of small pumpers. They're still counting small pumpers, or still finding more small pumpers. They were allocated a certain amount of water. There's rumors that there could be as many as 2 times to 3 times as many small pumpers as was originally counted. But they are still allocated the same amount of water. So that is going to be an interesting situation as far as how that might get resolved. The ramp down will be starting, of course, as far as the 5-year ramp down that they've got to do as far as the amount of water that they're allowed to pump as far as the adjudication. So everyone will have to start living by all of that. About the only other thing, water supply, there's a lot of rumors about this may be a good water year coming up, but you know, it's up to the weather as far as what happens. So we don't know yet. You know, so we'll see what happens. The last storm was halfway decent, I guess, but there's a lot more to come relative to water supply. That's about it.
Edward Zirkus Space. Real estate report. How about Albert Gatton? See you? No. Anyone have any community announcements?
I do. So, sorry, I have a community announcement. For the last 4 years, I've worked with the local VFW. I currently am now a member of the auxiliary. I just joined this month. We still need 70 hams or turkeys or roasts or chickens or something by Saturday. So if anyone can donate anything, I would greatly appreciate it. These are baskets for our local veterans, local families in needs, names that we get kids from the schools. So families that really need them. We've already collected approximately 70. I still need about 70 more. So if anyone has anything, you can drop it off at the VFW tomorrow. I can pick it up after I get out of work tomorrow. You can write a check to the auxiliary tonight. You can give us cash tonight, and you'll get a receipt. It's all tax deductible. We just need to get these baskets out. We're close, 2 days away, and we don't have enough. So that's my announcement. Thank you. I know.
Public comment period. Yes, sir.
How you guys doing? My name is Christopher Clark, CEO of Cannabis Collective. It's a dispensary in town.
First, I'd like to apologize. I know that there are access of too many shops in Rosamond, and that does have a negative effect. But there's another way to look at this. I myself am the son of a mother that had cancer 3 years before I was born. I've seen her go through chemotherapy 3 times and go bald and come back. And she says that the cannabis, like the rub, it helps her with her feet, and smoking eases her mind to deal with it and just go from day to day. And there's thousands of people like that around the world that are benefiting from this. I believe that this product should have been tested a long time ago, should have been researched, but here we are today. And so the reason I keep going is there's thousands of people that come into my shop that say they need this, and they don't want me to close because they have no other place to get this. So it's either tell them I'm sorry, but I have to shut down, or keep fighting for the people. And you know, we're going through this process. I did go to school, but you know, going backwards in the CU process is getting the best of me. My plans have been turned in 3 times and they've been returned back to me. It's only a 900 square foot building that I'm in. And, you know, but I'm still fighting, still trying to turn it on. If you guys know any construction workers, I could use a construction worker. Once my plans get accepted, we have to do, you know, building on the building. You know, I'm here for help from the community. I'm here to help the community. The initiative that we did, if it would have passed, that would have been $30 million in taxes. They just said they're running a $17 million deficit. We would love to help. As far as our expenses, we had to be registered as a nonprofit organization, so that means everything has to equal 0. So that's what the business model we had. Now we have to be for-profit, that is legal, so things are changing, that we can allocate funds to different places. You know, we're not bad people, we're just businessmen with a product that people really want, and I know how to do that and give them what they want, and I'm just trying to fight.
Yes.
Most folks are probably aware that there's a new urgent care facility going in right next door to Albertsons. The last word I had was that they're looking for ribbon cutting toward the end of January. So watch for that. It's coming.
One of with the Raceway Solar Project, we started a group. We have a Facebook page, Members Against the Raceway Solar Project. We're stronger as a group. So instead of everybody doing their own thing, we have a website. We have a board of directors now set up. We're going to start having meetings probably next year in January. We'll be putting those out there. And like I said, we're stronger as a group instead of doing everything as an individual. So if you want more information, visit our webpage, reach out to me, and I can put you in touch. And there's some sheets going around if you want to get emails on what's going on. Just make sure you put your name and email on one of our sheets.
What's the website?
It's Members Against Raceway Solar.
It's a Facebook page.
Facebook page.
Thanks.
May I just finish my closure? It'll take a minute.
I have another appointment to go to, and I'm going to try to get to the rest of this meeting here in about 5 minutes. I would like to go ahead and step through that. Maybe next month, we'd like to come and talk about that during the public comment period. It could be with you.
Well, my name was on the agenda, and you cut me short on the presentation. And,
Yes, ma'am, I understand that fully, and I am
kind of,
responsible for making that decision.
I object.
Yes, ma'am.
What's the best way to get a hold of RMAC if we have questions or want to find out if we can be on the agenda or to get?
RMAC has a Facebook page.
Yeah, I had trouble getting any response from that. Is it really?
Well, it's not monitored 24/7.
No, I
But you know, we have people that check on it.
So that is the best way?
No.
Okay.
We'll be publishing perhaps a phone contact list. We do not have an office, and that as a result makes it difficult for us to have a storefront. So.
Well, darn it, I probably would put my phone around here.
Okay. With the concurrence of my fellow board members, I would like to suspend the rest of the meeting from the business meeting 14 down through 16 new business. If there's any new business, we could go into that and then go into the remainder of the meeting. If someone would like to make a motion for that.
I'll make a motion to suspend the 14 through 16 at this time till next month.
I'll second it.
Okay, all in favor? Aye. All, any opposed? Okay. Okay, new business? Does anyone have any new business items? Okay. Director's agenda referrals. This is items for new business that will get discussed in next month's meeting. Do you have anything, Brandon?
No, sir.
Donna?
Not at this time.
Lisa?
Not right now.
Ray?
Not at the moment.
How about you?
I have under the director's comment. Okay. Turning to that right now, one thing I do ask our new board members to do, our new council members to do, is take a look at the various committees that we have that are listed on the agenda. Figure out which ones you would like to be a part of. We have some vacancies there that need to be filled. A couple of them are more active than others, but all of them are equally important. Even the one that deals with public safety really needs more attention than it has gotten in the past 2 years. Okay. Do you have any comments, Brendan? Yes. Okay. Okay, if we have a motion to adjourn, we'll go ahead and do that.
Make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
Okay. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Meeting is adjourned at 9:06.